Need Chris to mute the mic. There we go.
Yo, good morning. Good morning. We should have a pretty cool show today. A ton of energy, absolute euphoria across the timeline. I'm sure there was even more euphoria live in Denver. So super stoked to get into all that. If anyone wants to come up throughout the show, please feel free to step up. We're going to have a fun conversation. So let's definitely get into it. Adam, Jake, what is going on, boys?
Yo, I love it. Chris is now the host. I love it. Chris,
Bro?
This is the captain now
Chris
of
over
the
here.
show. Yeah. I absolutely love it. What is good? Or Denver, man. What a time. We have Jen on stage who threw the best event I've ever been to, not just in the crypto space.
What? And he lives in Vegas. Holy Jen,
Yeah.
what the hell did you do down there? How many were there magic mushrooms being passed around, or what was going on?
There kind of were. There kind of was, actually.
Yeah, it was. But also, I've thrown events in Vegas. This was still better.
Wow.
Dude,
Wow.
we had Charlie Spears, who's on stage, was DJing with Bunzi.
I saw that. Crazy.
That was DJ Charlie.
I got more than one trick up my sleeve.
I've seen you play in the drums too. It's like I see a musician over there, a true artist in residence, man. But Jen, tell us a little bit about and we'd like to have some. I got to get some ETH people up here too to get the ETH perspective. But maybe we'll dive into the Bitcoin perspective first. But Jen, tell us about this party. What was the party strategy?
Also, everyone, make sure you retweet the space. It's pinned to the top so that everyone can hear. I think this is the first time Jen's actually publicly discussed this 3-day mega event that really just took over ETH Denver. That's why it's Or Denver now.
I did try
Let's
on
go.
Spaces the other day, and I opened my mouth and realized I had absolutely zero voice. But it's coming back. Basically, you know, in January, I'd like said something to someone. I was like, we should do an ordinals event at ETH Denver. And they were like, you're fucking insane. And then the next day, Bunzi called me. He's like, we should do an ordinals event at ETH Denver. And I was like, okay, we're doing it. And so, yeah, basically like the pitch deck is exactly what we tried to do. We wanted to make like an ordinals hub home base for people on Bitcoin to build, to hang, to connect, and, you know, have a little bit of fun. So found this house online, Mike from Asigna, who could not have done this event without him. I'm like, hey, I don't know you. Do you live in Denver? Can you go check out this location? And then from there, it was like full speed ahead, planning. And yeah, I mean, look, like there's definitely a lot of really things that we planned, but at the end of the day, it's the people that make an event special, right? So I really think just like providing a space where everyone was comfortable and, you know, it was kind of like choose your own adventure. There were different levels of wild or productive that you could have gotten. And yeah, at the end of the day, it's the people, right? Like we literally could have all been in a cardboard box and it still would have been amazing.
Well, how did you convince Charlie to DJ? I saw him and Bunzi up there DJing. How did that go down?
I feel like there wasn't a ton of convincing needed. But, you know, a DJ is always, if you guys see DJs and you say, hey, you guys want to go back to back, like they're always going to want to play. But that was so much fun. It was awesome.
I have to say, setting up organizing the event the month or 2 months prior was a little chaotic, but Jen really covered all angles to the house. I showed up February 29th, or I got there about, I'd say like noon, February 29th, and there was already almost a full party going at that point in time. And that was the first day. During the day, all 3 days, and we had it Thursday, Friday, Saturday. There was a lot of programming involved and a lot of kind of like hacker house vibes. This house, I have to tell you, it's called the Starkey Mansion. It was 4 stories. There was 3 stories in a basement, 11 bedrooms, and this house was built in 1801. It really like is like it's like that old school house where every time you walk on the step or you walk on any of the floors and it just creaks. It was like creak, creak, and every room is a little bit different. So that sets the vibes. But during the daytime, it was very like hacker house vibes. There was different corners of the house where people were scheming and talking about their projects. The back patio area had a bar and people hanging out. I kid you not, during the day, at any point in time, you probably had 100 people there.
Man.
And at night, the first night we got in trouble because we hit capacity pretty quickly in the.
We went 3 times over capacity, which becomes a fire hazard. Okay.
Wait, did the fire police show up at the house and make you shut it down?
No, the police did not show up at the house, but also everything was in my name, all the insurance policies, my name. So, you know, there's a certain point where we got to respect. rules. But I will say we were, a bunch of us, because we set all that stuff up, pretty much just me and Mike. And then to break it all down, we had a bunch of us, and we finally finished at like 2 p.m. the day after. And like people walk in, they're like, wait, there's not a party here anymore. I was like, I'm like at the airport and I'm getting text from the owner, like people are still showing up. I was like, all right, I should probably send out a text blast, like, we're out of here. It's no longer the Ordinal's house.
Nice.
It will.
Go ahead, Jake.
I just have to say, I didn't leave the house all 3 days that I was there. Pretty much, the only time I really stepped away was to go get coffee or go get food. But from everyone that had showed up there, I mean, from some of the past guests that we've had on this show, Tio showed up. Obviously, Charlie was there. Got to talk with Jason Fang from Sora Ventures. It was literally like the who's who. I even saw like Nick Carter showed up there. If you know him, Bitcoin OG. It was Cypher was there. Got to talk with Alex, and I got to meet Domo for the first time. And downstairs was really cool. The IRL Alpha team, who does live streams out in LA every Thursday, they were doing just consecutive live podcasts, 2 days downstairs. Frank showed up one day, hung out, and did a podcast. I think Jan from Xverse. It was literally, it felt like the entire industry was there.
Crypto Twitter was sitting in there. It's like the entire Ordinal show showed up.
It's literally what it felt like. Patches, who's on stage, was there. We got to talk a lot. But Patches actually went to ETH Denver. He's a very, he's a legit nerd. Also, Bongo's on stage was there as well. Patches, can you tell us a little bit about first your experience at Denver, but also to satisfy, Adam's need for what happened to ETH Denver? Let us know how that experience was.
Yeah, so I'm still getting over the conference cough or whatever you want to call it, but I've been sick since Sunday, shaking hands, taking germs. But yeah, I thought I've been to the last 3 ETH Denvers. This one was definitely good. Like last year was just like everyone was really not in a good mood. Yeah. This was just on the brink of everyone realizing that we're about to hit a new all-time high on Bitcoin, and Ethereum was above 1,500, so people were happy. But the overall vibe was just a lot more cross-chain, which personally I think is really cool. The most people I talked to, it wasn't about how to get you to build only on my network. It was about how to integrate your network with mine. I think would be the biggest takeaway, which I think is imperative for the space and for user experience. Ord house was so cool. I'm really glad I got to stop by that night when we got to talk. Got to meet Domo, got to meet BitGod. I think I talked to Good Things. Then later someone said I was talking to Good Things, which was pretty funny. Like you didn't know who people are. So,
yeah, you're like, you don't know that's Good Things. You're like, who, Mike?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's
fun. That's kind of my favorite though, where like you're so deep in a conversation with someone and then you go to exchange info and you're like, oh my God, we've literally been DMing for months. Like, I think that is the best.
Yes, I said hi to you, Jen, and you didn't know who I was. I was like, Phil said, say hi. And you're like, I don't know who Phil is. I was like, oh yeah, it's fine.
To be fair, I hadn't slept in 3 days. And
no worries.
I was keeping track of so much.
You killed it. Yeah, you killed it.
People, yeah. I wish I got to hang with everyone more, but you do what you can. I'm sorry, Patches.
No, I think I'm just gonna have a T-shirt of my PFP next time. I think that's a good thing to do at these IRL events.
That's actually that's a great idea, bro. That is actually a great idea. Yeah.
I was printing people's PFPs on shirts, but also got lots of things to do. But yeah, that too. I have like really bright, I turned it orange for Bitcoin hair. And I also feel like that is a really good identifiable thing. But if everyone makes their hair orange, I don't know, it would still be a vibe.
Oh wait, Patches. So you saw a lot of cross-chain stuff. Do you think that's just because, like us, you're kind of tuned into that, or it was like real? You saw that for sure was part of the vibe.
No, it's definitely the vibe. Like so, ETH Denver like 50% of the booths just had ZK in the name. Like it was just like ZK rollup, ZK zero knowledge proofs. Like how do we take this chain and show you on this chain that we're validated? So it was definitely like it was the meta, Polygon just came out with their aggregator of TVL across different L2s. It was like most new inventions weren't, hey, we did something on Polygon. It was much more, hey, this is how Polygon is connecting to a bunch of different TVL, or this is how our network is going to ZK roll up to this network to then provide this utility. So it was just, I think anyone else who walked the halls of ETH Denver, that was definitely the meta. Because like, where do you go? Like everyone knows that L1s need to scale because we have enough adoption, and then if you have enough adoption, you need to scale. How do you do it? And the answer, I think, this ETH Denver was you use different networks for different things to get the best user experience for your users. Because that's really all that's going to matter. So I'm biased, but that's I'm a cross-chain maxi. I think that's where it's going, and that's what I saw. But I'd love to hear if anyone else had a different take of the actual ETH Denver conference.
I say I didn't even leave. Charlie, I know you went, right?
Yeah, I went for like half a day. ETH Denver is actually a really cool conference. I went last year. It's a pretty cool conference. It's kind of a jumble. It's like a hodgepodge of just like every single idea from really good to really bad, all on the same conference floor. And if you've gone to too many Bitcoin conferences where they talk about the same 10 things, this is like the polar opposite of that, where there's like no coherence to anything they talk about, but you can always find something that you're interested in. Most of my time though was spent at satellite Bitcoin events. I feel like, I went, I stayed in Airbnb with like Raph and Aaron and Cypher and Zero and my wife, and I was the only one who went to the actual ETH Denver conference because there's so much to do outside of that. You could have gone to Denver and not thought at all about Ethereum. It's just kind of wild that you could have, that ETH just happened to be happening at a localized area, and then the rest of us are talking about Bitcoin.
People were also talking about Bitcoin at ETH Denver. I think that maybe that's a different. So I was at the booth because I was working the Hedera booth, so I was there every day. A lot of people did bring up ordinals, ETH inscriptions, things on chain mattered. So I think that's just the thing that didn't exist last year. So I would also say that where even though there were a couple actual Moto Swap was there from Bitcoin. I met those guys. They're super cool. It was awesome hanging out with them. But yeah, they talked a bunch about how everyone came up and was like, how do I get exposure to like BRC20? How do I get exposure to runes? So I think even though the Bitcoiners had all of their satellite stuff that I got the privilege to go to a couple, they, unbeknownst to them, had incepted the people that even went to the conference, and they were still talking about Bitcoin then.
Yeah, Adam, I got to talk with the CBRC20 guys. Do you remember that conversation?
Did they tell you, get that guy Adam right, man? Come on, man.
I kid you not. That conversation came up at least 3 or 4 times.
For those who don't know, we got in a little back and forth argument, and the guy rage quit the spaces we were on.
With them, as they were the featured guests.
Yeah, and they were the featured guests and rage quit the space. So that's the only time we've had that happen in our history. So, but, so it's a marker. Actually, I was going to ask Charlie, has it changed since Ethereum went away from, proof of work? Has it changed for you, the vibe when you go visit it? Just because, you're in mining and all that sort of stuff. Does that change anything really for you?
So I actually had not gone to ETH Denver prior to the merge. It's interesting that the conversation around ETH block production has evolved a lot post merge. I don't know how closely you pay attention to the sequencing issue and the proposer validator separation, but that's what everybody's talking about right now.
I have no idea literally zero clue what that is, man. Which means a lot of people in the space have zero clue what that means. So What does that mean?
Well, we don't have to talk about it, but ETH is undergoing kind of a, I don't say existential crisis, but they're trying to figure out their direction and how to maintain neutrality on the network, basically. So it's interesting that like ETH is undergoing this, I don't want to say scaling challenge, but like identity challenge right now. At the same time that Bitcoin seems to be recapturing its. And if like I think we're going to view this particular conference or this particular season and path along this what is clearly a new bull market as a really interesting defining moment where a lot of people made the switch to focus back on Bitcoin. And there was a conference, the Bitcoin Renaissance Conference, which was kind of a last minute 1-day conference thrown together. Bob led it, but it featured the abundant landscape of, finger quotes, Bitcoin L2s. And it was a who's who of Web3 investment people and builders. And it was pretty much everyone who had been building on Ethereum, but now was looking to do something on Bitcoin. That was a pretty notable one because I don't think I've ever seen so much like venture interest in the space as I did at that particular conference. Now, I don't know if anyone like came away from that knowing exactly what to do, but at least there's like directional interest in like building on Bitcoin right now.
Yeah, I got to say the Bitcoin L2 sidechain conversation was by far the most popular topic at ETH Denver. I think half of the interested parties are down for it because they want to make money in Ape, and then the other half are like, "This is just completely terrible for the space. This is going to go horrific,
horribly wrong." How many L2s
wrong.
are going to horribly crater and fail? It's like, man, it's going to be so fun to watch.
It really shined a light onto me is like the kind of divide, at least the ideological divide of L2s is like that these L2s are being backed by VCs and you don't want to participate in anything that's backed by VCs, which I don't think is completely true, but that seemed to be like kind of the narrative that's forming. And so those that are opting to not participate are just saying, I'm not going to participate in any of this because they're all funded by VCs, although maybe some of them aren't. And it'll be interested to see. Obviously, Merlin chain was probably the number one thing. It's like, is this going to fall apart? Is this a Ponzi? Right? Is what is actually going on? Are they going to run away with their money?
Are they docs the owner the devs behind Merlin chain? Okay.
Well, at least Jeff is, who's the founder. Bongo, what's up? Pleasure meeting you too, by the way.
Yo. Pleasure meeting you, brother. And I miss Chris on Denver. Wanted to meet him. I don't know what events to who you guys were talking to, because all my conversations, most of them, 90%, were DJ's conversation. Like we were.
Hey, we attract what we are, you know.
Dude, people were just trying to make me buy shit, like random shit that nobody knew about. 2x's, 3x's, just the most DJ thing that you can possibly imagine. It was rough, to be honest.
Wait, you got to tell us the most DJ and most ridiculous pitch you heard. Tell us the most ridiculous pitch you heard.
Oh man, that's a hard one because I thought it was the most stupid thing, and then it cooked. So I'm just gonna keep.
That's what I was ready. I got my buy button ready. The more ridiculous, the better, dude. Somebody was pitching you Mog back then or something. You were like, "Damn, that's the dumbest thing I ever heard." No, but like, give us the ideas. Were people pitching you L2s, or they were just pitching you coins, basically?
No, just ordinal DJ plays. Nobody share any L2s with me. I didn't get to hear any of that. But the most interesting conversation that I had, it was Charlie Spears, of course. I mean, he gave me the best conversation in Denver. Fucking, he's a chat.
What did I say, Bongo?
One vote for Charlie.
But it's always a good conversation.
I got to say, at one point, I think it was the first night or second night, I went down into the basement where IRL Alpha was, and it's just like BitGod and like 10 other people with a computer around aping like whatever DMT thing had just popped up at the time. It was like right at the beginning of NatCats, like starting the moon, and then there was like all these other derivatives, and they're like, "Bro, you on this UNAT Pepe and UNAT whatever DMT mushrooms?" And I was like, "What the fuck is going on right now?" So there's a handful of conversations surrounding like like what Bongo was saying of what coin are you going to ape, Moon Boys. But there was a lot of builders there who are having just like, really engaging conversations. And then honestly, what it doesn't get a lot of talk is because it's more higher level conversation in the at Denver in this like library room is where literally all the developers where they had a full on whiteboard and you walk up and at any point in time, someone's writing on the whiteboard, they're creating designs. A lot of that had to actually do with Omnisat and H Wonderland, who's, one of the lead devs behind Pond and the Funk community. And there's just like, it was really cool to see ETH developers and Bitcoin developers really kind of converse around the struggles of each side. And I would go into that room every few hours and just sit for 30 minutes and really just try to follow along. And to my surprise, I actually could follow along, which was obviously pretty cool. But just to see like how people think about different things was quite interesting. I think from the ETH side, Eigenlayer was also like a pretty popular conversation because they think some people believe that's going to be what tears down Ethereum. Some people believe that it's going to be okay. It's the whole restaking platform, which a lot of people are comparing to Terra Luna, which the smart devs are like, there's not a chance this happens. But the retail side is like, the retail side thinks that one little peg in this could really bring down the whole thing. So that was another conversation. What's up, Buns? You feeling better?
Yeah. Barely, bro. No, I just wanted to pop in. I saw you guys were doing it. Been super busy, but I was doing a coffee run, and I was like, man, if I jump in, because I got to get the marketplace on Vercel, and I'm not good at multitasking. So, but I just wanted to pop and say what's up, and saw a lot of people from, or Denver, and man, that shit was a movie, and it really is cool to see when you extract like I don't know, Adam, you said there's, or I think Charlie, BC's like flocking everywhere. At our event, it was just builders and people that were genuinely moving the needle. I didn't hear any talk about floor price, any talk about, this is what, so I thought that was just an interesting difference in the way that the event kind of rolled out. But yeah, I wanted to chime in before I jumped off because I didn't want to do an Irish goodbye. But yeah, no, I just want to say what up.
Yeah, glad to hear you're feeling a little bit better, man. This guy was DJing till 3-4 a.m. 2 nights in a row.
Well, everybody got COVID, right? I mean, that's just like everybody in this space right now had COVID.
I personally
somehow I'm not sick, and I really don't understand. But I will say, pre-fucking conference, you got to go in with the juice shots. Then you got to eat vitamin C gummies all day. And then you also have to front run losing your voice with cough drops, and usually helps.
It's a strategy.
Oh, you're also talking about dudes that just fucking pound 5 monsters a day and buy fucking JPEGs on the internet. So
okay,
we're built for this.
3 Red Bulls a day for 10 years. I'm just saying, if everyone's sick and I'm not, maybe try my alpha.
I was so tired I didn't even make it to the last party. I fell asleep. I didn't even make it. I was out by 6 p.m., 7 p.m. I was done. I could not make it. What's up, Bongo?
Dude, I'm sick as fuck. And we even we did a sauna and cold punch the last day just to clean up our system, but it didn't help. Now, my biggest takeaway from Denver is that everyone, it's under the assumption that everything will go higher from here. I mean, when BTC hit 64, it felt like we went from disbelief to we are fucking back. And that was the vibe in Denver, especially with that nasty pump that Nodemon had. Everyone is just higher, higher, higher. And I'm with it too. I mean, there's no denying that we are fucking back.
Yeah, Ordinal's gigapumped during this time.
Yeah, dude, I was dumping on so many ETH MFers, dude. No, but on some real shit, it was cool. We had Frank, a lot of really notable people from Ethereum, genuinely curious, and it's crazy that I don't know. It took so long for these people to realize the value prop of what ordinals are, and people are really starting to understand what they're participating in and where the value lies is in decentralization and censorship resistant and being permissionless at its like core's value. So like instead of getting sold some pumping token, people are starting to realize, holy shit, there is a value proposition. Now I'm starting to understand what it is. It's not that Valtalic has a huge dong. It's that like it's a great EVM. And like before I step off, like Ethereum is layer 2. And we joke around it was testnet, but it's great with throughput. And that's just what it is. Bitcoin's going to remain, the concrete asset. And Ethereum is a great like crane to help move around some of these bigger parts. And then all this other stuff can kind of fuck off.
Hell yeah. What's up, Chris? And then we'll go to John right after.
Yo, once again, if anyone wants to come up, feel free to hop on stage. Definitely want to get everyone's kind of perspective, point of view, and see what's going on. Jake, I know you guys had Dan Held and some characters come through the house. Anything interesting that you heard, or what was the general vibe, man?
Yes. So
Dan Held's a DJ. That's the biggest part.
Wait, Dan Held's what? What'd you say?
And
dude, at his core, I had no idea, dude. He was letting some bars fly. I was like, wow, dude. You realize like you're kind of a big deal. But yeah, he was just letting loose. He knows what's up.
Bugsy, you even got Raph to say something in German, which was like, "We are building a casino." That was probably the wildest, like, back-to-back, like, degenerate chat I've ever been a part of. It was awesome.
So here's
who recorded that? I want to put that soundbite.
It was on the IRL Alpha episode.
Okay, I'm getting that right now. That's so fucking good.
I would say like a few alpha kind of conversations I had. One is, I don't know if it was Raph said this or who, they said that Runes is an entertainment company. That was kind of interesting to say the least when he said that. I had this conversation with Domo and actually like a few different VCs and ETH builders had come in and said that they're interested in the Ord community or the Ordinals community because it felt like a different group of builders that has a different perspective on things. And what the kind of idea was that on ETH, right, it's become to a point where most protocols are just like a slight technical change to a different protocol, right? Because it's very standardized. Right, you have like ERC 721, ERC 721A, ERC 721C, right? It's all just slight variations to the same thing. Whereas on Ordinal, because there isn't any standardization, there's a whole different type of like community, creative cohesion in terms of like product building. And I hopped on a call yesterday with somebody who I had met at ETH Denver, and this was like the conversation we had for 30 minutes was like, why is this so different than any other community that exists? And I think that's probably what's fueling some of this VC kind of narrative. But also it's what makes Bitcoin in charge. The Ordinals community is by far kind of leading it. So that was an interesting conversation. And the last thing I heard actually was there's going to be some huge upgrades to BRC20 here pretty soon. Not necessarily from the protocol layer, but it's actually going to be from the product layer. There's a handful of different parties that are working on a few variations that can build or that can really grow the BRC20 protocol. Obviously, OmniSat is one of those. I know Best in Slot is working on something as well.
Yeah, that's the true alpha right there.
Okay, what you guys got to dig in? Tell me a little more about what this means.
So for one like with OmniSat, right? So the whole idea, I don't want to give away a lot of it because I want Domo to kind of make his own announcements. But so like for example, like BRC20, right, is very kind of inefficient protocol. There's only 3 functions to it. So if you keep the protocol kind of the same way, the only way to improve it really is through an influx of innovative products, right? So for OmniSat, an example, one of the benefits here is that when you swap, right, think of like Uniswap. When you use OmniSat, it writes the transfer function and the swap inscription in one transaction. So that cuts down, a huge deal of, it definitely still creates bloat, but it cuts down on the user friction per se. And that's from the BRC20 side. There's another team that's working on some EVM type capabilities built into the BRC20 protocol. I know Charlie had a bunch of conversations around this, so maybe Charlie, do you have any more insight into some of the stuff?
Yeah, I actually don't know if I can say a whole lot, but I will actually say, and I know this is going to get clipped. Is that my structural criticisms of BRC20 remain. However, I think that the Unisat and OP indexer unification solves a lot of the coordination problems in the short term. And I think the next 6 months will be very optimistic for BRC20 at a protocol level.
Yeah, it's exciting. So those are probably like the 3 big alpha things that I can remember. I don't know. There's a point where you have so many conversations, you kind of forget what happened. I did talk with the Etscription guys for like 2 hours in the corner. That was a fun conversation as well. I know they've really been crushing it. I do want to say hello to OX Dima, who I got to meet, and I was actually on a panel with. Man, how was? Give us your takeaway of War Denver.
I'm so sick, man. I'm feeling worse as the days go on. That's kind of like my trajectory. But my hype and my hopium is just keeps on going higher as the sicker I get. But yeah, War Denver was great. It's only my second crypto conference. I went to Amsterdam, which was also great. But the difference between, I guess, Amsterdam was a Bitcoin event. And there was a lot of people that were bullish on ordinals there. And there was a lot of panels about ordinals at the actual Bitcoin Amsterdam conference. But with ETH Denver, obviously, it was really different. Like, it was an Ethereum event with a bunch of like side Bitcoin / ordinal / Bitcoin L2 events. And it just seems like everyone that isn't in like,
oh no, we lose them.
There. Everyone that isn't in the know and didn't, was just kind of had like a cursory glance on ordinals, whether they were like an Ethereum maxi or, a Solana shitcoiner or whatever. They all just wanted to hear more about ordinals and more about, the thesis of, as I like to say, the one coin to rule them all, right? Like Bitcoin is the one ring to me. And I think a lot of us here, as soon as we found out the simple fact that you can do JPEGs on Bitcoin, it was like, oh, one ring to rule them all. This is obvious. But there's something that when you talk to anyone who's bought any cryptocurrency and made any amount of wealth or built any product, they're very curious on what you can do on Bitcoin. And maybe they weren't curious a year ago, right? But now you go to an event and you interact with anyone and you say you're building on Bitcoin and they go, oh, like, how do you do that? What does that mean? And I just feel like, the vibes have had a bit of a 180 since even just Amsterdam. And I'd imagine from the events earlier last year as well. So yeah, it was just great.
What you think of Jen? Yeah, how are you not sick, dude? Today's like the first day I feel okay after like 4 days. I didn't even drink.
3 Red Bulls a day. That's all you
Reading
need.
our text. Hold on, Jake just reading a text out loud on a space is like not chill. Luckily it wasn't a bad one, but fuck.
I wouldn't have read anything else. This was the conversation. Demo was saying that he was dying, and you said that you weren't dying.
Well, probably because I was running around so much that I barely got to talk to anyone. And I can do 3 days no sleep, but I think something with like ordinals too, and as someone who does like a ton of education and onboarding, is like the infrastructure was not there, right? Like how long it took till like March for like experts to be like at a place where people felt comfortable. And I think like now there's starting to be more options. So I think like, people who were down to like do the work and set up a node or like figure out how to do this on spreadsheets, right? It's going to be a smaller group of people. And so I do think a lot of the, like adoption of this, I mean, one, Magic Eden, right? Being where kind of like all the trading is taking place. And two, there's just being more options and people feeling more comfortable. So I think that has a little bit to do with the timing as well. That was all I wanted to say.
Jen, would you like to explain a little bit like what it's like setting up an event and how it works with sponsors? Obviously, that we've seen this. Well, I've seen this post at least 10 times from individual accounts saying that this is, the best event that they've ever been to in a conference. And like, I agree with that wholeheartedly. Like, what is it like as an organizer setting it up? Like, what are some major details that are important for somebody who may be interested in setting up their own event?
Hire someone who knows what they're doing.
Hire Jen.
I mean, maybe. This one was done in like less than a month and zero budget. I think I wired the money for the house on January 22nd. So like we definitely, I mean, I just want to give a huge shout out again to Mike from Asigna, because I would not have been able to do it without him. But yeah, there's too much to go through, right? But there's so many details. And at the end of the day, for me, like I've done a lot of events pre Web3, and I haven't really felt the need to do one, but I definitely have a lot of complaints about a lot of events, right? And so this was the first time where I was like, fuck it, I think we're ready. Sorry, ETH people, I love you all, but like, was never going to throw a party for you. And yeah, I mean, for the past month, it's everything. And what's really cool too is a lot of the sponsors, and LFG is on stage and they're amazing. I'm not sure who is on the account at the moment, but they did like an awesome taco party that everyone loved. And yeah, I don't know, it was cool. I got to meet a lot of people in the Bitcoin space through like some of our sponsors, and just hear about projects where I was like, whoa, this is so fucking cool. I feel like I have like weeks of research and also a lot of degenning to catch up on. But yeah, for anyone that's doing an event, I think like think about the things that you want, right? Like there were a lot of things that were really intentional about this house. If you were there at night, like the DJ was in the basement and that was a place where you could rave, but the music was also playing outside until sound ordinances, and also in the house upstairs, and it was a different level in every room. So like you could kind of pick if you wanted to have a conversation versus like a rave. I feel like at every event, right? Like when people do panels, like I'm that person too, right? I walk outside and I talk to people, but only because we all talk to each other every single day on Spaces. And I feel like IRL events, you can have more than 11 people on stage. And so, yeah, we had it downstairs and then we had it streaming upstairs so that you could listen, but like you could talk over it. And also panelists wouldn't be like, what the fuck, everyone's talking. And I think we got like a ton of feedback, like positive feedback on that from speakers that were like, this is the only time we could actually hear the panel. Tweeted this earlier, but I was like, we got to have a box of tampons for the girls, right? Like, it's just like every detail of like, what could you need, what could go wrong. And then also having people that like just really stepped it up, and without even being told what to do. Like, Chief was at like 8:30 in the morning. I come outside and he's cleaning the house with the owner. And I was like, what? Thank you. And he's like, dude, this house has been home, respect your home. And I love that. Like, had the whole IRL Alpha crew, like there's so many people that just showed up and didn't even need to be like assigned a task, just like jumped in and saw what was needed. And once again, it all goes back, suddenly losing my voice again, but it all goes back to the people. And we had some of the best people there, and hopefully like created a space that could just really facilitate like collaboration and creation and connection.
Yeah, I have to say one of my favorite touches was the IRL Alpha live stream at the bottom, or in the basement during the daytime. I have to say, I know Beacon's not on this conversation, but he's by far one of the best podcast hosts I've ever seen in my life. I just literally sat down there for, I kid you not, like 4 hours straight, just like watching him carry multiple conversations of different topics, like very free flowing. I was like, wow, bro, this is intense.
Yeah.
It was a really nice touch. I'm really, really impressed by him.
They were the first.
Yeah, Beacon is incredible. I mean, like talking to somebody who can.
Yeah.
Like, he can do like he can talk about Rust. He can talk about degen stuff. He's an incredible podcast host. I have him on notifications on Twitch now.
Hell yeah. Every Thursday we do a stream in LA, and they were the first people I hit up. I was like, yo, I'm doing this house. I got you guys a place to stay. I'll let you know if I can pay for your flights, but like be there and we're gonna make it all happen. And yeah, they're super amazing. And he's the person, like, he will read everyone's notes on GitHub, right? Like the speaker forum was like, send your GitHub, like, because he does that. He's definitely just, yeah. He also did not leave that chair. Like he didn't even go to the bathroom for 5 hours straight. He was so in it. I was like, homie, you could have taken a bathroom break. But yeah, they're incredible. And every single Thursday we do a live stream out of LA. So everyone, if you're based in LA, you should come. If you're not based in LA, book a flight. Make sure you're here on a Thursday.
Yeah, I hear it's popping down there in LA. I did bring up somebody on stage who was from the Dogecoin community who went around ETH Denver, is building a product. So I want to get your experience as a Doge builder or a Dogenals builder at ETH Denver. How was that, Mr. Doggyfi?
Hey, what's up, guys? Just wanted to say firstly, dude, the house was fucking like dope as fuck, dude. I didn't get enough time to really spend there and do some hackathons over there. We were kind of like spread pretty thin between like some decentralized AI stuff that we were trying to ship on like another thing. And then obviously, you know, going to all the hacker houses and see what's happening. But like, dude, truth be told, like being an ex-ETH guy, like, dude, I spent like maybe like an hour at like the actual main conference, and that was just to go talk to someone at Buffacorn. Like it was wild. But it was amazing, and you guys did like a fucking fantastic job. I got a chance to like put some faces to names. Me and my co-founder met like Dima over there. We met Bongo over there. It was like really, really cool. We were just fucking exhausted after like a full day of just like partying and like vibing hard. Got a chance to finish out ETH Denver on like a pretty fucking cool way. On like going to a lake and just tubing with a bunch of people while we're shrooming, which was fucking sweet as fuck. Yeah, dude, it's the only way to like fucking finish this thing right. But I've got to say, I'm glad to be back in Texas where the sun is like properly shining. We get some good old sun. I have to wear like 50 fucking layers. But yeah, dude, it was awesome. The Doge stuff is like great. Like, dude, the markets are ripping and the vibes are like so fucking good, man. It was just, it feels like you didn't even have to shroom out and like vibe out the entire time. You could still catch those highs. It was fucking amazing, dude. I just got to say, like, if you guys are going to run it back, definitely love to come by. Also got a chance to meet like Domo, Isabel, like Alec, Hathaway. It was just fucking dope, bro. Like, definitely, if you guys should make this an annual thing. We would love to fucking come back and support.
Yeah. What was the response from maybe ETH people or Bitcoin people towards Doggyfi or towards Dogenals? I'm just curious. You're the first one I've met that went as a Dogenals project.
Yeah, it's kind of wild, right? So like we're part of that Bitcoin Startup Lab project, and like we have our demo day like next week, right? So we basically are going to this. When we were flying out to Denver, we had like 3 meets with like VCs and investors. When we landed, like literally after the first day, we had like 20 meets, bro. It was fucking insane. Half the meets were like, we just took the meet because we wanted to meet the crazy assholes or like the based fucking retards that are like gonna go build on this shit. And we were like, and they were like, holy shit, by the end, they're like, you fucking retards could really full send on this, right? And we're like, yeah, that's what we've been fucking telling you, bro. Like, it's like a crazy ARB opportunity, and the community is great. There's a lot of tooling that needs to get built. It's so fucking dope. Like, it's been wild, dude. Like, people are like, even in ETH, like a lot of like ex-core team people and like buddies that we used to like collaborate on hackathons are like, dude, this is fucking wild. Like, I can't believe this market's like growing this crazily and all this shit that needs to get built. And you got like one of the biggest like retail kind of community problems like solved already. So you don't need to like really onboard new users or snipe people out of like other ecosystems. All that stuff is bullshit. There's like right vibes there. Dude, it's fucking awesome, man. It's insane. Like my Telegram has like, I need to go through like 20,000 messages, it seems like.
That is awesome. Yeah, one of the conversations that was pretty popular as well was just like this idea of like the revitalization of UTXO chains that has stemmed from Bitcoin ordinals and just this idea of build like that. Now Bitcoiners are a little bit more open to Litecoin, to Dogecoin, to Bells, I guess, because Adam's the meme coin king over here now with Bell's coin. It popped up a few times as well.
Bells was mentioned? No way.
A few times, mostly just from like degen plays, right?
Yeah, sure.
It was so funny. There was I forget who I was sitting there talking with. I think I was talking with Eric from BRC20 Coins and these other people. And we were talking about Doginals, and we're like, you know, if you buy Doginals, now this is when Doge was at 10 cents. We're like, if your Doginal 10x's and then Dogecoin goes to $1, that's a 100x. And he was like, what the fuck? I'm gonna sell everything now. And then they're like, well, if Bell's coin's like a similar opportunity, right? It's like, well, if Bell's coin, right, was at 30 cents and goes to $5, but then you have a Bellinol, right, that 10x is right, that's a 500x kind of idea, right?
It's
Ultimate.
funny. What came up this week was the Litecoin and Lite, right? Because it was like I somebody tweeted at me and I was like, dude, it's still like, I checked it out. I was like, well, that Lite's got to be at like what? $15-20 million would be like nothing, right? No, it's still at like $2 million. I was like, the difficulty, I went and bought some because I was like, the difficulty to get this has to be so great that nobody's doing this yet because it's still like too hard. And you got to go on what's that market, like Crunkin market. The market's got the worst name. I can't even tell you where to go.
Market, I think it's called.
What's it called?
Chicken, I think.
Chicken market. I don't even know. It's
UN.
But it's like, it's the worst name. It's terrible. Everything's terrible about it. And yet it's still like a $2 or $3 million market cap. And I was like, oh, well, I got to buy some of this. Cause if I don't, and Litecoin pops, and then some of it, like it's been your strategy the whole time, which is like, look, Dogecoin is this massive amount of liquidity that has nowhere to go. And if Doji pops a little bit or comes on the radar at all, it's $1 billion market cap, right? At all. And so, yeah, I got in a little on Lite. It'll probably go to zero, but I was just like, dude, how can I not buy this? I know how to use the wallet. I can do it. But yeah, it's crazy town. But I got to say, the vibes I'm hearing, this is, it reminds me a lot of NFT NYC during the 21 bull run, where there's so much just good vibes because numbers gone up that it's like just amazingly epic. I'm bummed I missed it. No doubt about it.
I told you, dude. Or Denver will go down as in history as the day that the entire ETH cabal was finally orange pilled. I'm telling you, dude. Literally within one day into Or Denver was when Node Monkeys went on this like historic crazy run. Puppets. There's puppet stickers all over the Or Denver house. There's a guy running around with, I don't even know who that was. There was a guy running off a sign that said inscribing was sinful or something like that.
Swag Toshi.
Was that Swag Toshi?
I also want to say, I'm just sitting on the couch, like talking about. Honestly, I wasn't even talking about crypto. I was just having like some deep chats with this guy that I just met, and I look in front of me and I see Frank and Thread Guy just at 1 a.m. in the Ord house, like in this deep conversation, and I'm like, okay, like these guys are massive on Ethereum, right? Or I guess Solana for Frank, but both chains now. And I'm like, this is where anyone building in crypto, I feel like they're kind of orbiting around here. And that's a big deal. That's a big deal, like just such a successful party / I don't even know if I want to call it a conference. I want to call it like a meetup. Yeah.
That was the goal, right? Like you saw the pitch deck and Sat Screener was a big part of it as well. But yeah, it was like, look, it's simple. We're making it hub. We're making it home base. If you don't get it, then you don't get it, but see you there. And I think like, Jake and I both have done a lot in ETH, like as much as we love ordinals, I think it's important. And this is something in all events, right? Like, I don't know, bring in like, and this is the first time I've been like, okay, people are ready for it. But it's like, okay, a lot of like Web 2 people that I know were there. And I really think that it's like, if we just create for our own bubble, where does it ever go, right? We have to like build bridges and create an environment where we can like get new people engaged in a way that like it will make sense for them. And so this wasn't like ordinals people only, you have to have an ordinal to get in. It was like, hey, do you like crypto? Do you like fun? Cool.
You like fun.
Literally, we'll literally orange pill you, but like we'll orange pill you and you'll be there.
Yeah, the invite was open. It was anybody who hit the accept button or the RSVP button. It was open. It was really fun. Although sitting at the door, I played security 2 nights at the front.
Oh my God, bro. The F. Being at the door is literally like, honestly, if I had time at this event, I would have been from some of the biggest parties in the world. The door is fucking power. First of all, you meet every single person that comes in. Second, you get to pull in all the important people and do them a favor. Like, the door is alpha. Jake, I don't want to hear about it.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. The conversations I had at the door were some of my favorite conversations that I had.
Yeah, I love telling people
Gary.
to come in. I got to work the door too. I was like, you can't come in. You like me now, right? No, but one thing that did get mentioned was like, it's kind of like that was straight up a conference. Like, we had notable speakers and we threw all of these things on, but we did it in a way that made it more human and less like, here's my booth. Like, it wasn't restrictive. It was very much people that care about what's happening. And it will sound cliche, but it's like, you can't really buy passion. And everyone that made that happen truly, put in a lot of work. Like, we were all running around. Like, I was playing downstairs to absolutely no people just because we needed music through the house. And like, dude, TJ Spears just played it back to back. Like, everyone just kind of came together. And it's like, it all kind of just started from a meme. I saw that there was a lot of people going. I've been to ETH Denver the last 3 years and no one was coming. I was like, oh, it's going to be ETH Denver. And, a lot of people just started, it just grew and grew and grew and grew. And it turned into something like genuinely like organic. And that's something really, really impossible. There's no real recipe for that. And, I think because when I saw Inscribed Atlantis not doing it, I was like, dude, all the ordinal MFers, we need a place to go. Like, we're all going to hang out anyways. And it really turned into like, dude, Ord takeovers are coming because like, I think we set the tone and I feel really bad for other corporate event throwers because that model is whack and like, it's just not going to work. And the same thing, the whole thesis for ordinals too is like, it's impossible to compare anyone to Satoshi, but I do have so much respect for the Ord team and Casey. Like, they did this in a non-extractive way. They brought technology, and the people that really cared about it didn't jump in and launch token first and extract. Like, this was a group of people that everyone called idiots. Everyone was like helping buy each other's art, similar to the fake rare and rare Pepe community. Like, it was just artists supporting artists, creators creating creators supporting creators. And now that we have this solid foundation, like the people that helped pave this could have extracted so much money. And I was talking to Aaron about this, and I was just like, dude, I really appreciate Raph, Casey. I mean, CB Spears is like a part of that Cypher, a part of this like original crew that, because even just doing OmniSat, so many VCs have trying to throw money down our neck. And we're just saying no to all of it because that's a conflict of interest. Like, we want to reward the users, like, because we have no debt on the books. Like, when people start using these tools, we don't have to pay back anyone. You're not going to see that huge red candle, like, right off the bat, and these reverse exit VC models. Like, and it's really cool to see that ordinals movement in the flesh, because we all been feeling it online. It's like, it feels different, and we're seeing all these people support each other, but to see it really in IRL, like you said, Jen, like, dude, Chief outside helping clean up, like me running around, like clean up the water bottles, and also Jen even just dealing with me bouncing off the walls and being everywhere. It's like everyone's putting up with so much and helping, like to make this stuff happen. And like these org takeovers, I think, are just genuinely going to keep getting bigger and bigger, because the foundation that Jen set for like how to do this shit is fucking crazy. Like ideas are cute, but like the execution stuff that I would never have thought about, like orange cups, security, like there's so much more. And like the merch, the allowing people to talk. And because I just thought, I was like, it's just people just want to party. Like, because when I go to these conferences, I barely go to the main event. I just go to the side satellite events and go to the club ones. But it was brilliant to do a 3-day. And that's why I truly felt like it was a conference. Like, we just disguised it as a house party, and people were like, okay, saying frat party and all this stuff. But like, I learned more.
Lindsay, they were only saying frat party because you started saying that. All right.
But
First
see,
of all,
I just mean
hold
shit.
up. I want to be like really clear. We're not starting a frat. And that's not
No,
even
that was
a
Leo
frat.
that said that.
Jen's secret handshake.
All right. Anyway, I need everyone to know that the first time I met Bunzi, I slapped him in the face, and that's the only way I'm able to tolerate working.
That's a fact. That.
Jen, how is it you thought of orange cups? Genius.
I mean,
there was an orange rug too. There was an orange rug too.
Nice.
It was an orange carpet, okay, for the step and repeat.
No, there was so much more than that. But
yeah, you had like decals on on like the mirrors in the windows. Like I turned a corner,
and I didn't have time to do everything, but like I had them in the upstairs bathroom too. So I have pictures of like all the Web2 people that like came to DJ, and it's like, being a Bitcoiner looks good on you. It also said you look like you're not going to sell the bottom. I definitely sold the bottom of everything to pay for this shit. So, you're welcome for the pump. But also, I feel like, look, people want to quote unquote party. No one parties that hard in Web3. I'm going to change that a little bit. But like, at the end of the day, we're all still there to work. And on the first, like, I gave the venue like a breakdown by hour, and I'm like 1 to 4 a.m., like late night hacker / rave hours. And people had their computers out at 4 a.m, right? Like, people were doing work, and I love that. And he was like, what are you guys hacking? Like, are the FBI going to show up? I'm like, no. It's like Bitcoin, like nodes, like things like that. And then he's like, are 100 people running Bitcoin nodes? Because I don't think we have enough power for that. And I was like, I love that. I love that the venue did that. And he was like, I don't want to know anything about Bitcoin. And then he was like, I want to learn. And that was cool too, right? With every single person that like is a Web2 company that I brought into this shit, I was like, see, if I didn't have to wire you money, if I sent you crypto, you would have had it by now. You would have been up 30%, right? Like, that's also the way. You just got to like convince people by showing them how inefficient their ways are. So I feel like this week I have so much like, and this is something that really bothers me with like every event in crypto, right? Is people working it, never know anything about crypto. So like, we ended up having to get a bunch of extra like runners and people during. And so it's like, I have ledgers being sent to them, like they're going to be onboarded properly. And I do think within any event and any IRL, it's not just the people that are coming into there that are already sold on crypto, but like every single person, because truly the people that are working, like the bartenders, the person who owns the venue, the runners, like all of these people, like they're the most important people at the event. And make sure that they're taken care of as well.
Way over the top. I love the foundation that you're setting, as Bunzi had said. What's up, Dogfather? Thank you for being patient.
Hey, GM. Yeah, this is really impressive. I miss being in Denver so much. I saw Bunzi and Charlie DJing, and this really hurt not being there. So that was definitely fun. And I have to drink a Red Bull with you, Jen, one day at some other conference. It sounds really amazing. I mean, we have so much fun right now in the ordinal space. Just one thing, maybe I can chill a space that is happening in 90 minutes with two bigger ETH, friends like Real and Min, they do a 101 ordinals space just to, like bring some more people from their communities to ordinals, or let's say discuss it at least. So I think this is really interesting. If these guys ping you and ask you to join their space, you know what's going on, right? You know that the onboarding is in full throttle and going on like hell. So this
you
is
want to
really,
you want to pin that up top, man, so we can so people can find it.
no, Adam, I'm a shy person, but I will do that if you're okay with that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
some of you join. I will also share that in a few Discords. I want to see as many people rocking, the finest ordinals PFPs in their space to see that, what's going on. I mean, what could be their PFP one day. Okay, cool. I will do that. Thanks, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man, it was a fun time. So when NFT NYC? What's that, Charlie?
Jen, is there plans for Ord takeover of NFT NYC?
There's definitely been some talks. Stay tuned. I know there's a bunch of people doing things, so yeah, and Nashville, but definitely I literally like building all the shit in the house, then taking it back, because I'm gonna be so fucking real. Half that shit was ordered from Amazon and is definitely being returned to Amazon. Yeah, we were on a budget, okay? We weren't
We buy stuff and then just return it after we use it. Are you returning the orange cups, Jen? Come on.
It didn't fit.
Okay, like first of all, if you don't do that, you don't fucking know. You always need extras of everything in case it breaks. Then you return it to Amazon, right? They're getting a little stricter with the returns. I'm a little annoyed about this, but my fingers literally were bleeding. I like couldn't type for like a day. So then I was trying to send voice notes and realized I couldn't talk. There'll definitely be information circulated in the next week or so. We might even try and do something at NFTLA, but that'll be way smaller and just a little Ord night, because NFTLA is not, it is what it is.
You need to give some time to let it simmer, but Ord NYC.
LA is before New York, Bunzi. We got like 3 weeks till that shit, and then
Dude, NFTLA, is it really a thing? I feel like that's the best shit. Like, I feel
all
like
right.
that's
Well, I live here, so I can pull a party out of my ass in 3 days.
Sauce.
Anyway,
if you're throwing a party, I'll come up.
you're not invited.
Permissionless. I'm gonna buy a bunch of stuff and then return it to Amazon, and then I'm gonna be coming through.
You just threw my own thing back at me, so that is true. It is permissionless, but sometimes there's rules. CP Spears, hand up. Go ahead.
Yo, I got a dip, but I just want to say, this is one of those events and weekends, I think, that a lot of people look back to as pretty defining. Like, the past year has been the ecosystem growing way too fast and with a lot of chaos and shit happening. And then the Inscribing Amsterdam conference was a really good point where we all got to, in a mini ordinals bear market, meet with each other. And this, to me, was the actual first real major event where you had a very clear shifting of winds across the entire ecosystem. And I love these spaces, right? But I love the public Twitter spaces, but I really want to have longer form conversations where I can look people in the eye, kind of flesh out ideas. I don't have to worry about, people in the audience, because I want to have some conversations which are nuanced and direct to a person and not over DM. And that's what the Ord Denver House did. I got to have a number of conversations across an entire wide range of blood alcohol content, and it was absolutely fantastic. Shout out particularly the OmniSat team, and Jen, obviously the star of the show, gets a lot of the credit for making it happen, but Bunzi provided the energy, and there are a bunch of people just in the halls and at doors and on stairs, actually helping Jen make sure that the event was contained. And so this is the team to follow. It definitely shows that it's not like a venture firm writing a big check to throw some empty feeling gimmicky party. it is 100% the people who you have there. And you don't need to even have the big follower Twitter accounts. You just need to have the people who are dialed into the ecosystem. So, man, I really loved seeing pretty much everybody here on stage in person. And I am addicted to Ord events now. So I will be traveling a lot this year. So cheers, everybody. Great conversation.
Thanks for coming, man.
Let's go. That's exciting, man. Yeah, that was again one of my favorite events that I've ever been to. I'm excited for what's to come, man. The ordinal. Again, I think that weekend goes down in ordinal history as the day that everyone finally decided that ordinals were it, not a fad, not dead. Amazing. Very much alive. Very, very, very much alive. I think maybe we could wrap it up here. Jen, thanks for throwing an awesome event. I wish Mike was here so he could have talked a little bit as well. Right, he was pretty much your number or 1.1, right, or 1.2 that kind of threw the event with you. Arwen, you got something to say, man, before we close up here?
Hold on. It was my fucking right hand. Sorry, I walked outside with my dog. It was my right hand. No 1.1 like equal.
Hey, friends.
What's up, Arwen?
Can I speak? Is it okay?
Yeah, go for it.
Hey, I just wanted to come and talk about Stamp Denver. I saw the Stamp Denver chat. No, really. I actually just wanted to come and say thanks very much. Basically, Stamp Denver for me and Kevin was turning up at this mansion, invited by the team, super drunk, talking shit to everybody. So I just come to publicly apologize for anything I upset anybody with. But otherwise, we loved you all, and I also thought the vibe was great. Definitely improvements. You should have asked me to DJ, although the DJs were great. Got bums on it. Spoke to some mad people. I nearly spoke to Jake, but we paid too drunk. And I can't believe I missed CP Spears. And if I spoke to CP Spears, that is even more funny because I was.
No, you didn't miss it. You talked to him for an hour. You just don't remember it, bro. That's it.
No, exactly, bro. I never lie. I just sometimes get a bit excited. So anyway, I just wanted to reiterate from the Stamps crew that we had an amazing time. Thanks for everyone hosting it. And definitely, Ord Denver is the new ETH Denver. ETH Denver, sad. Ord Denver, awesome. Basically, make more Bitcoin-related stuff if you want to stay cool. Thank you so much to everybody. That's all I just wanted to say. Thanks for the invite on that.
All right, and you're all good. I did say hello to him as he was walking in. He was a little shoisty. And I also did have a few of those conversations where the next day they're like, bro, we talked for 30 minutes. I do not remember that. That's how you know it was a good time. I appreciate everyone for coming on, man. Again, Ord Denver really, really, sweeped the entire thing. Even all of the friends that I talked to said, even at ETH Denver, Bitcoin was a pretty hot conversation. So we'll continue, right? All of these different collections have really aped and gone upwards. But, this is really, as I say, only just the beginning. For those that aren't aware, this is your first time tuning in, Adam, myself, and Chris, who's on stage, we work at Emblem Vault, the leading cross-chain NFT protocol in the industry with over 100 million in TVV. That's total value vaulted, not total value locked. We'll be back tomorrow. Tomorrow we actually have a pretty big space. We're doing our monthly Emblem Town Hall, giving you all the updates for Emblem.markets, our partnership with the Bitcoin, with Frank and the D-Gods team, with the D-Desk that he announced right before ETH Denver on a Friday. We've got a lot of things in store, new front end, more cross chains, more ordinals that are going across chain, and a lot of exciting things. So make sure you tune into that tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. And until then, guys, be safe out there, and I hope everyone drinks some orange juice so that you can, and eat some oranges so that you'll feel a little bit better. Until then, see you tomorrow.